You ever look back at a college football season and realize the team was way more fun than their record says? That's the 2019 Auburn Tigers. This wasn't a playoff team. They didn't win the SEC. They didn't even finish top 10. But if you actually watched college football that year, Auburn was must-see TV every single Saturday. This team had everything. Freshman Bo Nix hype, a terrifying defensive line, chaos at the quarterback position with Bo Nix, heartbreaking loss of massive wins, and one of the greatest Iron Bowls ever played. And low-key, this Auburn team might have had the hardest schedule in America. So today, as an Auburn fan, we got to talk about the 2019 Auburn Tigers, one of the wildest, most entertaining teams of the entire playoff era. If you like college football content, NFL content, all type of sports, NASCAR, this is the channel for you. Subscribe, you feel me? Like this video, comment your favorite college football team. Let's get into the video. Coming into 2019, Auburn was in a weird spot because honestly, people didn't know what to expect from them anymore. Just 2 years earlier in 2017, Auburn looked like they were about to run college football. They beat both Georgia and Alabama in the regular season, won the SEC West, and had everybody screaming War Eagle like they were about to head to the playoffs. And it all collapsed. They lost the SEC championship, got smacked by UCF in the Peach Bowl, and then 2018 happened. And it wasn't a down year, but he went 8-5. Jared Stidham left for the NFL. Offense felt stale, and people started questioning Gus Malzahn all over again. Because with Auburn, you feel me? With Gus, Auburn was always one of two things: a national title threat or it was a roller coaster ride. And heading into 2019, Vegas had us finishing about 4th or 5th in the SEC West. Because you got to think about this division that we were playing in. You had Nick Saban's Alabama, Joe Burrow's LSU, Jimbo Fisher with Texas A&M, Dan Mullen's Florida was on that schedule, and Georgia still had an elite defense with Kirby Smart. And we were sitting there. Auburn was sitting there with a true freshman quarterback. Not redshirt freshman, not sophomore, true freshman. Enter Bo Nix, the son of Auburn legend Patrick Nix, and one of the biggest recruits in the country. And immediately people started doing what the entire college football fans always do. They either crown the kid instantly or say he's overrated after one bad throw or one bad read. But there was one thing about Bo Nix that was obvious. He had confidence, like a rational freshman confidence. The kind where he'd throw across his body into dribble coverage and somehow think like, yeah, this should work. And honestly, sometimes that shit did work. Week 1 told us exactly what kind of Auburn team this was going to be. They opened the season against Oregon and Arlington, and Oregon was good. You feel me? Justin Herbert at quarterback, a loaded offensive line, top 15 matchup, big national stage. And for most of the game, Auburn looked cooked. Bo Nix looked like a freshman. The offense struggled. Oregon controlled the game a lot physically. But Auburn's defense kept them alive, and that defense was different. Derek Brown, Marlon Davidson, Big Cat Bryant, Nick Coe. That defensive line of like 4 NFL players accidentally ended up on the same college roster. They were violent. Every snap looked personal. And because the defense kept Auburn in the game, Bo Nix got one final chance. That came the moment that Auburn fans will never forget. I remember exactly where I was when this happened. I was sitting on my mom's couch. Well, I was still a kid, so obviously I lived there. But I was sitting on my mom's couch, random ass Saturday, watching us play Oregon late in the 4th quarter. Game on the line. Freshman quarterback. National television here. Dallas, Texas, Cowboy Stadium, baby. One of the biggest environments in college football, and football in general. Bo Nix rolls out, throws a touchdown to Seth Williams in the corner of the end zone. Auburn wins 27-21. And immediately, the hype train exploded. People were calling Bo Nix the next Auburn legend after literally one game. But that's Auburn football. Everything's dramatic, everything's emotional, everything feels bigger than life. Now, before we go any further, we got to talk about that defense. Because while Bo Nix got the headlines, this defense was the real identity of this team. Derek Brown might have been the best defensive player in college football this year. Not one of, he might have been the best. At defensive tackle, this dude was destroying entire game plans by himself. Double teams didn't matter. Run blocking didn't matter. You weren't moving him. Then next to him, Marlon Davidson, another monster. And Auburn's front 7 played with this nasty energy where, again, every game looked personal. They held Oregon to 21, Texas A&M to 20, Georgia to 21, Alabama to 45, but they also forced turnovers and completely changed the game with pressure. If you watched the game, you would know what I'm talking about. And if you watched the Tigers that season, you knew that the defense gave them a chance against anybody. The problem was the offense could disappear at any moment, and that became the story of the season. Bo Nix's true freshman season was basically the perfect example of what happens when you throw a teenager in SEC football immediately. One drive, he looked like a future superstar. The next drive, you're asking yourself what he saw on the field. Now, he finished the year with over 2,500 passing yards, 16 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, plus his rushing ability, which honestly for a true freshman in the SEC isn't bad. But Auburn fans had to live through every high and low in real time. One play, he'd escape defenders and throw a dime. The next play, he'd scramble directly into pressure like somebody forgot to tell him defenders could move. But what made Bo entertaining was the confidence never disappeared, ever. He played fearless, sometimes too fearless. But you know what? It fit Auburn perfectly, because Auburn as a program has always thrived in chaos. Cam Newton chaos, Perrat Jordan Hare chaos, kick six chaos. Auburn football never really feels normal. And Bo Nix entering college football by immediately becoming one of the most talked about quarterbacks in America, that felt very on brand for Auburn. Then came the Florida game. This is one of those classic SEC slugfests where every first down felt painful. Florida was undefeated, the swamp was rocking, college game day atmosphere, and Auburn's defense played hard, but the offense just couldn't consistently finish drives. Florida wins 24-13. And honestly, that loss kind of showed Auburn's biggest weakness. The offensive line struggled at times, the passing game was inconsistent, and when they fell behind, they weren't built to play explosive comeback football. But at the same time, nobody walked away from that game thinking Auburn was soft. You knew that they could fight and compete and play with anybody in the SEC, let alone the country. Then Auburn had to deal with LSU. And unfortunately for literally everybody in college football, 2019 LSU was a cheat code. Joe Burrow was playing quarterback like he had already unlocked the NFL early. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That offense was unfair, but Auburn still made it a game. That's the craziest part. Auburn lost 23-20 in Baton Rouge in Death Valley, but their defense gave LSU one of their tougher games all season. Check the tape, check the paper, check the stats, everything. And once again, Derrick Brown was everywhere. That game honestly boosted Auburn's respect nationally because people realized, oh wait, Auburn can line up physically with anybody. The issue was they just didn't have enough offensive consistency to survive the SEC gauntlet every week. And speaking of gauntlets, look at this schedule. Oregon, Texas A&M, Florida, LSU, Georgia, Alabama. That is psychotic. That's basically a playoff schedule before the playoffs. Now we got to talk about that Iron Bowl because this game was insane. Once again, Alabama came into Jordan Hare ranked 5th in the country. Tua was hurt, so Mac Jones started. And honestly, Mac Jones played pretty well. But this game had everything, bro. Big plays, pick sixes, trick plays, controversy, insane crowd energy, and one of the funniest endings in rivalry history. There was the famous Bo overthrow moments, and then Auburn got a pick six before halftime after Alabama weirdly tried to get 1 extra second. Jordan Hare was pure chaos. And then came the ending.
From the 11, hands the ball to Shivers, cuts it inside the 5, he's into the end zone. Shivers just ran through a man. Touchdown Auburn. Nix takes the knee. This one's over. This one's over. Let the celebration begin.
Jordan Hare explodes, fans lose their minds, and Auburn wins 48-45. To this day, that is one of the defining moments of the playoff era because Auburn didn't just beat Alabama, they basically knocked them out of championship contention. Again, this rivalry genuinely does not make sense sometimes. Honestly, that bowl game summed us up perfectly. Physical defense, Bo Nix making plays with his legs, random chaos, emotion everywhere, and when the season ended, Auburn fans had mixed emotions. But when you look at who we actually played, this team was battle-tested every single week. They beat Oregon, beat Alabama, and all 4 losses came against really strong teams. Florida, LSU, Georgia earlier in the year, Minnesota. See, even talking about the 2019 Tigers gets chaotic, bro. I be forgetting shit. The reason people still remember the 2019 Auburn Tigers isn't because we won the championship. It's because we were entertaining. Every game felt emotional. Every game felt dangerous. And every Saturday felt like something insane might happen. And sometimes it did. This team represented everything people love about college football. Elite rivalries, crazy environments, young stars, unpredictability, and pure SEC chaos. Plus, this was also the beginning of the Bo Nix journey. The same Bo Nix people made fun of at Auburn eventually became a completely different quarterback later in his career. So looking back at 2019 kind of feels important historically too. You were watching the messy beginning of a player who eventually figured it all out and became an NFL superstar. And honestly, that Auburn team deserves more respect than they got nationally. Because even if they had a slightly easier schedule, we probably win 10 or 11 games. Instead, they spent the whole year fighting ranked teams every other week. The 2019 Auburn Tigers may not have won a national championship, but they absolutely gave us one of the most memorable seasons of the playoff era. A freshman quarterback thrown into the fire, an elite defense, Jordan Hare magic, and an Iron Bowl that still feels unreal years later. That team was flawed, chaotic, frustrated, and insanely fun, which honestly might be the most Auburn thing ever. War Damn Eagle. Yo, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, man, I appreciate you so much. I love you and thank you for rocking with me, man. Make sure you leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if sports content is what you rock with, man. We're gonna do more stories like this, more kind of storytelling type of elements for teams you may have forgotten and seasons that may have went under the radar that honestly deserve some sort of spotlight, man. I'm your boy Mirrors of the Ticket. Once again, I appreciate you rocking with me. I love you guys. Keep God first. Keep spreading peace and positivity in the world because that's what we need.